This is the story of two twins in the Dolomites. 4 days of visiting epic alpine lakes, hiking incredible trails, camping below the mountains, and driving the windy roads. Whilst one of us absolutely loves the mountains, the other was faced with some big mental challenges. Our trip started in Venice, where we landed at the airport and picked up our hire car. It was only a 2-hour drive from Venice and we were already in the mountains. We had a chilled day planned for the first day, stopping off at a few viewpoints on our drive to the first campsite. We decided to camp for 3 out of 4 nights for this trip to see if we could do the Dolomites on a budget, and I think you'd be surprised at how much it actually saved us. Our first campsite was located just a stone's throw from Lago Dobiaco. After setting up, we headed down to the lake for a little wander around. The mountains towering above the lake created an unreal landscape and got us very excited for what's to come in the next few days. The weather was a little drizzly, but in the mountains you have to be prepared for any type of weather. Luckily, the campsite had these little picnic benches with built-in shelters that was the perfect spot for our dinner. After dinner, we made a hot chocolate and got ready for our first night in the tent. 2 of us sharing one small backpacking tent, it was a bit of a squeeze. But having the car meant we didn't need to also store our bags inside the tent. Good morning, we are currently drinking our coffee by the lake. We had a pretty chill day yesterday. We arrived here in the Dolomites, didn't actually get around to filming too much, telling you what was going on, but hopefully you saw a little bit. And today, this morning, it's currently raining. We were going to visit Lago de Braise, I think it's called, but we were about to leave the campsite at about 6:30, and the campsite apparently doesn't let anyone outside until 7 o'clock. So we came to this lake instead, which is literally a walk away from the campsite, to make our coffee. So we're here for 4 days in the Dolomites. Yesterday was day 1, pretty chilled day. We picked up our hire car because we're hiring a car for the time that we're here. Chloe's working with a brand for the car hire, so we're going to explain that later, and you can get a little discount if you're planning on any traveling. If you're planning on any travelling. So we've got 4 days, we're going to see how much we can squeeze in. You ready? Yeah, let's go. After finishing up our coffee, we made our way to one of the most beautiful lakes in the Alps. Famous for the little rowing boats and the boathouse that sits on the shore of the lake, it is a stunning place. The weather wasn't on our side, with the mountains covered by some misty rain. But we still enjoyed this incredible spot in the Dolomites. We didn't stay for too long as we had an exciting hike planned for the afternoon. Okay, Okay, we're just starting our hike towards Lago Serapis, I believe it's called. And we're also going to be staying at the refuge there, which I'm really looking forward to. So, let's go. Ready for the hike? I'm definitely a bit nervous. I'm scared, but yeah, I'm ready as we'll ever be, so let's do it. The start of this hike was incredible. We were instantly met with some amazing views of the mountains all around us. However, it then became very challenging for Chloe. Whilst we knew this hike had some exposed sections, we didn't quite realise that half of the hike is alongside the mountain with some steep drop-offs to the side. Chloe is not the best with heights or anything that seems quite dangerous, and she suffered with a lot of anxiety and panic attacks along this route. I didn't film too much of this as I was mostly supporting Chloe through the hike and giving her the encouragement needed to keep going. The hike itself was within our physical limits and actually quite easy, but if you suffer with any kind of fear of heights, this is definitely not the hike for you. You might be wondering why she forced herself to keep going on this hike when she clearly wasn't enjoying it. Well, apart from a small part of her that wanted to keep going, we also had reserved a bed to stay in a mountain hut, which I think is a big reason that she pushed through and we continued the hike. There is also a point in the hike where it's easier to just keep going than to think about returning back along the same route that we had come. Eventually we made it to Refugio Vandelli, where we checked in and chose our beds for the night. Luckily it wasn't too busy and we shared our room with only 2 other people. We chose to stay at this hut because it was so close to this incredible lake, Lago Serapis. We have made it to the lake. It looks absolutely incredible. My camera isn't even wide enough to do it justice or get any nice pictures, but it's definitely stunning. Bit of a tough hike here, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a bit challenging mentally and physically, to be honest. A few scary, kind of exposed and steep bits, but we survived. We're here. We're staying in the mountain hut just here, so we've got plenty of opportunity this evening to get some photos if there's a nice sunset. It's pretty cloudy at the minute, so we're not too hopeful. But we've also got tomorrow morning to hopefully see the sunrise. Are you glad you did the hike? I don't know yet. Hasn't paid off, hasn't rewarded. It is, are you like, just thinking about tomorrow? Amazing. Yeah, a little bit, but also, yeah, it is amazing. Just still was very hard. After exploring the lake, we made our dinner with the most amazing view. A simple backpacking dinner of noodles and tuna which refueled us after a busy day. We enjoyed our dinner and reflected on the day, chatting about the highs and the lows. Mostly for Chloe, they were lows, and I don't quite think this is what she had in mind when we made the decision to do a road trip through the Dolomites. Right, it's time to see if there's going to be any sunset at the lake. We were hopeful that some of the clouds would clear and we would be treated with some golden light over the mountains. And whilst it wasn't quite as epic as we'd hoped, there was a small amount of light shining over the lake and the surrounding peaks, which in my opinion made our stay here in the mountains worth it. Okay, this morning we are trying a different route back down. We were going to get up for sunrise again at the lake, but I looked out the window at 5 o'clock, it was very cloudy. So we had another hour or 2 of sleep, and now we're heading back down. We've got a steeper route down, but because yesterday Chloe was a bit scared of the heights and it was quite like a drop. We're going to go the steeper way, and it's going to be a lot nicer, calmer in the trees. So yeah, let's get back to where we left our rental car. This route down the mountain was seriously steep, and our knees were definitely feeling it. But surrounded by the forest, Chloe felt a lot safer and much preferred this than our way up. We stopped halfway for some breakfast and coffee and then kept on going. Looking back every so often to see just how far we'd come. We made it down the steepest bit. Okay, so we finally made it down from the hike, which is all the way up there somewhere. It was very steep, but a lot better mentally compared to the other one that was like on the edge of the mountain. We're now waiting for a bus because we don't really want to walk another couple of hours back to where we parked the car. Luckily for us, the bus eventually turned up and we made it back to our car. We made our way along more winding roads and to Paso Giao. There are many mountain passes in the Dolomites, all with incredible views over the mountains, and this was no exception. Okay, it's time to attempt a wild camp this evening. Technically not allowed in the Dolomites, but we'll see if we can get away with it. So obviously we've not done much wild camping, so we're a little bit nervous, but we're going to give it a go. Hopefully it's a bit of a nicer hike than yesterday's. So we have to go all the way around here. It's a bit chilly, but hopefully we've got enough layers to keep warm and enough snacks to keep us going. We started the hike with high spirits, even had a stranger offer to take some photos of us. So just hold it and we'll smile.
I don't understand what you're saying.
A little wave, it's a video. Lovely. That's okay, you got it. Thank you. But unfortunately, it was all getting too much for Chloe. There were some more exposed areas of this hike and mentally it was just too much. We decided to call it quits and instead made our way to the safety of a campsite. With our plans adjusted, we made our way to a random area of the Dolomites. Okay, our plans have changed. As you might have seen yesterday, we did not actually do the wild camp. It was a bit too much of a hike for Chloe. She'd already done one exposed edge hike, and that was already too much. So we didn't want to push it too much and do any more hiking. But we came down from the mountains a little bit, found a nice campsite, and we were going to head to Lake Garda today for our last day, but I think it would have been a lot nicer if it was actually sunny, and it's not really, and the mountains kind of fit a cloudy vibe. So we're staying in the mountains, and that also means less driving for us, so that's a bonus. We're finding that a lot of the campsites here aren't very like nature vibes. Like in the UK you can get a lot of campsites that are literally just a field and you're kind of on your own, a bit more in nature, whereas here they're really built up. There's like a lot of caravans, you're really close to each other, and they're not as nice, and they're also more expensive. Like I think they've averaged about €40 because you have to pay like for the pitch and then for however many people you have on the pitch. So if you were by yourself it might work out cheaper. I think it's still working out cheaper than hotels though. Yeah. So that was our goal, to be a bit cheaper than hotels. So yeah, let's go see what this other campsite's like. There wasn't anything specific we had planned or anything else we wanted to see, so it was actually quite nice to just pick a campsite and explore what was nearby. Okay, we're at another campsite. I think this might be one of the best campsites of the trip. It's got such a good view of the mountains. We just arrived and they let us check in really early. It's literally 12 o'clock. We're going to have some lunch and then we're going to go out for a little explore. But already, I mean, we could just sit here all day. The sun's come out, there's mountains all around. I'm in shorts. Tent is pitched. Chloe's got her shorts on. You got goosebumps? No. Wow, impressive. Okay, we're about to start another hike. The sun has come out, although the weather forecast says it's going to rain, but looking forward to it. It's going to be nice weather, a bit more of a chilled hike. Hopefully you're going to find a waterfall, maybe even search for somewhere for a dip, because I feel like a trip to the mountains is not complete without a wild swim. So, yeah, let's get going. Already straight in with a really steep bit at the start of the hike. Thought it was going to be a nice little stroll. What? Thought it was going to be a nice little stroll. Of course. We are in the Dolomites. Feels like we've been walking forever, even though I thought it was going to be a really short hike to get to this lake/waterfall, and still no sign of it, but hopefully we're nearly there. Okay, we found the lake, but it is so small. It's basically a little puddle where the stream is like collecting, and it's like not really a lake. But there's loads of fish in there as well. Let me see if I can show you. Oh, I don't know if you can see, you can only see the reflection. Okay, well, let's leave the lake and see if this little mini waterfall, we know it's going to be a small waterfall, but we're hoping it's like a nice one anyway. So let's see if this waterfall is any better than that little old puddle. We eventually found the waterfall hidden in the mountains. We didn't see a single other person in this area, so we had the whole place to ourselves. We made a coffee with some fresh alpine water and enjoyed the view. However, it wasn't long until a thunderstorm was passing through the valley and we quickly packed up and started to make our way back to the campsite, getting absolutely drenched on our way back. Okay, luckily the waterfall turned out better than the little lake did. It's actually pretty cool. We did a little photo shoot for some coffee stuff, and I was debating a swim, but it's pretty rainy now, and obviously it would have been cold. I mean, I would have loved to, but now it's raining, and also we left our tent open at the campsite and it's raining, so we need to get back really. So yeah, now we're going to go down and hopefully we don't have a puddle inside our tent. But just as quickly as the storm arrived, it also disappeared and we had a lovely last evening in the Dolomites. After soaking up the last of the mountain views the next morning, we packed all of our things back into our bags ready for the flight and made our way back to Venice. So that's the story of how two twins spent 4 days in the Dolomites. Despite Chloe struggling with some of the heights, exposed cliff edges and getting anxious on the mountain roads, she did an incredible job at pushing through and trying to enjoy it regardless. I can't quite remember why we decided on a road trip through the Dolomites, but maybe next time we'll head somewhere with a little less anxiety-inducing hikes. I, on the other hand, thoroughly enjoyed my time. I always love the mountains, and having been to the Dolomites before, I was definitely excited to get back. Had I known that Chloe might not have enjoyed it as much as me, I definitely would have reconsidered some plans. As we mentioned at the start of the video, Chloe managed to hook us up a great deal for our car hire in Italy through Holiday Extras. We think it was the best way to get around the Dolomites, and if you're planning a trip, you can find a link in the description that will give you a discount on your next car hire or any other services booked through Holiday Extras. Thanks for watching, and leave us a comment with where you think we should head next. Oh, it's soaked.